Reaper 7.17 is out now, and there's a huge changelog with changes to take markers, recording, gluing, all sorts of features, and especially the theme adjuster. I've already covered the theme adjuster in a separate video. It's 20 minutes long, so if you want anything regarding the theme adjuster, check that video out, and this video will be everything else. For lanes, do not add lanes menu item to options, new recording that overlaps existing media item submenu. So this is a pretty simple one. We're going to go up to the options menu and then overlapping recording behavior, do not add lanes. So if you want the old behavior of recording takes and not using fixed item lanes, this is the option. And essentially this was there just under a different name. Like this is specifically do not use the new takes and lanes function. Just to show you the difference here, do not add lanes and split existing items and add takes is set to default. I will record on this track. I'll hit record and I'll just, actually I'll just record twice. So there's the first recording and a recording again. And here's the second recording. And these are takes within a single item. Now, if we have the other option, which is the new Reaper 7 features, add lanes, new lanes play exclusively, I will record. And then when I stop, the track switches to fixed item lanes view. And the last recording is the one that is audible. You can see that from this yellow dot. And if we want to switch to the original recording, the first two recording passes here, just hit the button to change which lane is active. And then we have takes within lanes. So this is a lane, this is a lane, this is a lane on the same track. We want to hear both. We can command click or control click on Windows. So if you never want to use this feature, the fixed item lanes feature, simply do not add lanes as your option. Take markers. Support editing take marker position in take marker dialog. Support length parameter for take markers. Action to split at take markers. Action to create or delete take marker within time selection. When adding take markers to media item in the comping lane, update the associated media items in the source lane. This is about half of the new stuff with take markers. Okay, I'm going to call up a toolbar that I made earlier with take marker actions here. But remember that all of these functions will be in the take markers submenu. So I've got a take here. I'm just going to add in a take marker, brings up the dialog. And this will look a little bit different because there's now a position and length parameter that we can add in here. So at bar 5, we can add in a marker called, let's say, good take. And a length of, I don't know, let's say 3. So putting that in, we've got a line across the entire thing because the length parameter. We can also move take markers around. We can alt-click to delete. That's not new. But we can command-click or control-click on Windows to copy that. I don't think we can copy it to a different take or anything like that. But we can copy it if we want to reuse the same text. We can double click on one to bring up this edit function again. Action to split at take markers. So I'm just, I've got a item selected, a take is active. There's a couple take markers here. So I'm going to split at take markers. That's going to split the item at each of those take markers. I'll just record a couple bars here in a loop just to get some content here. So it's recording and we're adding in some audio, and this will create new lanes on this track when I hit stop. I'll stop it at 4. There we go. We go into fixed item lanes view again. We've got a few lanes here. I'll just remove that one. Let's go into comping, comp into new empty lane, and I'll set my grid to 1/8. And so I can start swipe comping like this, choosing the best bits, etc. So I've created a comp here from selections of this audio. If I want to add in a take marker on one of these, so let's select this one. I'll just add in a take marker there, just a random number, 1, 2, 3. And when I hit OK, you can see here that this take marker is on the selected item at the comping lane, and it's also been transferred down into the source lane. And if I'm in the comping lane and I move this, it also moves in the source. This only happens when we're in comping mode, and you have to do it from the comp lane because our mouse cursor is set for that the comping, comping mode. Support take ranking. Preference for take marker rank levels. Context menu for take up rank, down rank markers. Actions to create up rank, down rank take markers. Actions to up rank or down rank take under mouse. Actions to up rank, down rank take or clear rankings within time selection. Actions to clear up rank, down rank take markers. Actions to cycle through up rank, down rank levels. Actions to delete takes based on take ranking markers. Actions to add up, down ranked take markers 1 or 2 seconds before play position. So this is a pretty sweet addition. Essentially, we can mark up our takes after recording or even during recording with just a simple ranking system of happy faces and sad faces, really. Let's first start with the preference. This is going to be Reaper preferences, editing behavior, and take marker ranking levels. 3 up, 1 down is the default, but we can have 5 up, 1 down, or 1 up, 0 down, and the actions to cycle will skip no ranking. So yeah, just choose whatever one feels right. 1 down, 3 up seems good to me. So this action is up marker at play position or edit position. And so that puts in a happy face. And if I click this a second time, it does a second happy face, a third one, and then that's it. And I can down rank that. It'll lower the ranking until it's a sad face. You can mark up your items with these take markers and then do things like delete the takes that are down ranked or delete the takes that are not ranked or not up ranked, which is pretty cool. You can also, of course, split all those markers, or we can clear those up rank markers, ignoring the take, the normal take markers. We can convert a normal take marker into a rank marker by using the happy face, typing in a happy face, and you can see it automatically updates in the arrange view. Just do a second right bracket to do that second ranking. And the length parameter, we can put in 0.02. And then you'll get a marker that has a length, like that. We can also make a time selection and add in a down-ranked marker just at the time selection or an up-ranked marker at the time selection. We can delete the markers within time selection and cycle through. So we'll just add one there, and then we can cycle through there. So we'll cycle through happy, sad, or if we uncheck this, it will go through neutral or none, really. There's a lot of actions for this. So there's actions to add in a rank, add it in a second before the playback position. That is this shortcut here. So if it's playing, I can put in a marker. It'll put it in 1 second before the play cursor, which is pretty helpful, rather than marking the instant that you press the button. So you can use this on a foot switch. You can always assign these actions to a foot switch, a MIDI controller. Or if you are working with an engineer, or you are the engineer working with clients, when they're in the booth, you can be marking up with the simple ranking system to just instantly eliminate the crap from your edits as you're recording. Uprank, active, take, or last recording pass is a good one. So if I'm recording here, and I do uprank, active, take, or recording pass, it puts in a marker. But also if I just stop recording and then hit that, it's going to mark the entire thing. So we're recording, oh, did a bad note. We'll just stop, hit this marker, and that is a bad one. Actually, I wanted to do this button. Yeah, and you can mark the entire length of this item as a bad spot. But you could always add in, like split it and then cycle through that to make it a happy marker. Region Marker Manager. Display length for take markers. Extend existing option to display only take markers in active takes that are within the visible part of the media item. So if we go up to the View menu and then open up the Region Marker Manager, we now have a length column here. And in the options, we have only display visible take markers in active takes. And so when that is active, we won't see all of the take markers in this list, but I'll just re-enable fixed item lanes on this track, and there's one more marker here, and it pops up instantly down below. So if this is off, there's no difference between visible and non-visible take markers. And with this new setting, only display visible take markers in active takes. Any hidden take markers will be hidden from the Region Marker Manager. Color theme. Add separate take marker color for selected items. There's so much take marker stuff in this update. We go to Theme Tweaker. So this is a setting that's not in the theme adjuster. Media item take marker and media item take marker when item selected. You can see that I've customized mine. You could have them the same. Change it to black. Anything like that. But media item take marker when item selected. And by the way, if you make any changes to the colors within this window, you should save your theme default 7 custom. Remember to keep default 7 in there in the title so that it works with the theme adjuster. There's some situations where you lose these settings if you switch themes. So yeah, just remember to save that. Preferences. New general undo tab for undo related settings. New appearance ruler grid tab for ruler grid related settings. All right, so let's head over to the preferences. There's now an undo page. Anything related to undo has been moved. I think it was on the general page and now it's in the undo page. Well, these are my settings and you can copy those if you'd like. Appearance ruler grid. You can set this here. Ruler label spacing, grid line Z order, marker line Z order, divide, arrange view. These were settings in other pages of the preferences, now moved here to be together. Automation. New options in preferences editing behavior automation to unselect all envelope points in response to various clicks. Preferences editing behavior automation. We now have the option of choosing when things are unselected. Unselect all track envelope points on arrange view click, unselect all take envelope points on arrange view click, or unselect all take envelope points on that item click. So just as an example of this, I'm going to keep these unchecked for now. And I will add in the volume envelope. And when I make a point, it stays, it's currently selected this point. If I click away onto another part of the arrange view, that's going to keep that selected. Really until you click in the lane to unselect it. Now, if I apply that setting, turn that on, and I make a point, and then I click somewhere else, that's going to unselect it. Similar behavior to clicking elsewhere within the same envelope lane. And that also applies to take envelopes, so effects automation or take volume automation. Will those points stay selected if you click away from that item? Wildcards. Support lowercasing all letters of the substitution. Within wildcards, we can set substitutions For uppercase, you just do all caps for the wildcard name and we'll rename that thing to uppercase. Or if you do a capital first letter for project, for region, for marker, it will do capital for the first letter only. And now we can do lowercase by doing the first letter lowercase and the last part uppercase. In this example here, where it says untitled.wave, we don't need the uppercase part for to force it to lowercase because it's already lowercase. Capital P, and that will change the untitled to untitled with a capital. We could do all caps, and it does all caps. If we do a lowercase p and uppercase rest, it will do all lowercase. MIDI editor, add action to set measure grid, add action to toggle snap to key signature. So if we go into the MIDI editor and open the action list, search for measure, we can now set the grid to measure. So there actually wasn't a shortcut for that before. It was available from the grid menu, but not actually in the action list. As well, the key snap function. So if we just search for toggle snap, we had actions to activate and deactivate key signature, but not one button that would turn it on and off for us. So both pretty helpful additions. I think that's it for the MIDI editor stuff. Global option for whether to record into an existing fixed lane if there is space available. All tracks, including fixed lane tracks, by default obey project overlapping recording behavior. Fixed lane tracks can override project overlapping recording behavior. Recording into a fixed lane track with overlapping recording behavior set to do not add lanes will record into an existing lane only. Okay, so remember at the beginning of the video when I said we go to overlapping recording behavior, and there's this option of do not add lanes. There's also the option of overriding the setting for fixed item lane tracks. We'll right-click fixed item lanes to activate that. And if we right-click here, we go to recording, and there's now an override for the project behavior. And this is per track. New recording does not add lanes. Recording adds lanes, new lanes play exclusively, or new recording add lanes in layers, multiple lanes playing at once. If we have do not add lanes set globally, we can still record into lanes for a specific track if it has the override set here. So new lanes play exclusively. I'll just hit record. And there's a lane, and if I record again, second lane. And if I set my thing to just uncheck this and then record, this is a take within a lane. It's following the global behavior. Yeah, we can set this per track now. Preferences, audio, loop, lane recording. There's this option here, recording into fixed lane tracks, record into an existing lane if there is space. So that will reuse empty space within track lanes as long as you don't specifically choose which lane to record into and the lanes option is enabled. If this is off, it's going to increase the number of lanes each recording pass. And with this on, it's going to reuse old lanes as long as it's an empty space and as long as it's not going to affect playback or anything like that. Glue. Preserve color if all glued items have the same custom color. Preserve up-ranked, down-ranked statuses. Preserve take markers when gluing. So I have a couple items here, and if I glue them, right-click and glue items, it makes one new item with the same color. Let's just undo that. Let's add in a take marker and then select them, glue that, and now it's kept the same color and it's kept that take marker. Render. Support multi-channel media when drag and drop rendering item. Add render setting to preserve source media sample rate if possible. So the drag and drop render option is when you do this and drag to the desktop, for example, that creates a new file. Previously, that only worked with the first two channels, so stereo render. And if you're looking for the command for that, or the mouse modifier for that, preferences, editing behavior, mouse modifier, media item, left drag, and I've got mine set to render item to new file for command option. So that should be the default there. But yeah, that works with 4-channel and up as well. Now in the render window, we also have this new option to preserve source media sample rate if possible. So this is helpful if you, let's say, use selected media items and it's a 44.1 media item in a 48K project. You can preserve source media sample rate, render that out, and it will be the original sample rate. This is similar to the option in the batch converter for source for the sample rate. Add global preference to crossfade left, right, center when splitting. Add actions to split crossfade left, right, center preference, cycle through preferences. Legacy actions to split, select left, force crossfade left will ignore new global preference. Hide legacy actions to split, left, select left, force crossfade left in actions. Existing custom actions and scripts will still work. Deselect unaffected media items after action to split at mouse. Add actions to split items at time selection or razor edit, crossfading to inside, outside, or center. All actions to split at time selection, crossfading to inside, outside, or center will split on razor edits if any exist. So this is a great addition for editors. New options in Preferences project item fade defaults. So you can set split media items to respect the auto crossfade button, which is my preference here. So when this button here in the main toolbar is on, it will crossfade, otherwise not. I love that. And we can choose whether the crossfade is on the left, in the center, or on the right. I'll bring in an item. All right, so I've got some audio in here, and if I split this item, it's going to crossfade with that crossfade on the left. And now if I come over here and I set this to crossfade center, and I split, that crossfade is right in the middle of the split. I'll jump over to the next bar and set this to crossfade right, apply, and now that crossfade is on the right of the split. So there's different reasons for choosing these different settings. For most people, crossfade center will make sense. That's kind of what people would be used to. Cutting very close to a drum transient. You want to preserve that transient, not have to fade over it. So you would have the crossfade on the left. And that's why I'm setting my crossfade left as the default. And I'll see if that works generally for everything. But yeah, crossfade right is a little less commonly used, but we do have those options now also in the action list. So if we do split, I'm using split items at edit or play cursor, select right. So when I make a split, it selects this item on the right side and I can then cut it. Or there's also actions for splitting at the edit cursor with no change in selection, selecting left, selecting right, ignoring grouping and selecting on the right, split items at end of fade in unless crossfaded, split at the play cursors, ignoring the edit cursor, split items at time selection or razor edit. We have the new actions for changing the preference, crossfading on center, left, or right when splitting. There's also an action to cycle the split options, crossfade left, crossfade right, crossfade center, or no crossfade. And so you just tap that a bunch of times or set up a toolbar button for that. Well, I think that's it. That's a huge update for Reaper. Lots of little detailed things to go through and the huge theme adjuster script as well to go through. Yeah, there's a lot of things to cover. This took multiple days. So I hope you liked the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. Support the Reaper blog through Patreon and visit reaper.blog for more tutorials.